Hello, and welcome to our final Plump session. Today we'll be featuring Cedric Richards today. I said today twice. He is the creator of Laps Magazine, as well as Everything Bike. So we'll be talking to him today about those two things, and I'm really excited. We, as always, we'd like to thank the London Arts Council through the City of London's Community Arts Investment Program for sponsoring this project. And hi, Cedric. Such a quick.
Hello, Alicia.
How are you doing today with all this heat?
I'm doing amazing. It's the weather I've always wanted, so I'm just loving it.
Yes, I'm sure you
That's
are.
the time of the year.
Right now, all of my blinds are closed, trying to minimize the amount of heat. I want to be in control. When I go outside, I'll feel hot. When I'm
Exactly.
in my house,
Control the
I feel cool.
climate.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So I'm so happy that you're joining us today. For
Thank
those
you.
of you who don't know, like I said before, Cedric is the creator of Laps Magazine. And aside from that, if you've ever been on his personal Instagram page, just a lot of really funny anecdotes about London, about biking, about traveling, and it's just a really fun space to be in. Your space is a really fun space to be. Uh,
Thank you. I feel so honored someone said that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I want to start by asking, what made you think of Laps Magazine? Like, what brought it to where it is today? You just released your seventh issue back in April.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so seventh, and there's only four a year. So you've been doing this during the pandemic, if not just before, if I'm correct with the dates that it
Most of
started. Yeah.
yeah, most of the pandemic, and so basically, what had happened is that back in July 2019, I decided I had a day off, and I wanted to day trip. I was kind of bored of just doing the same thing in the area, so I decided. Where does Greyhound go that I've never been before? So I decided to take one out to Kitchener. And Kitchener is kind of a little important to me because my sister is from there. And I decided, oh, I'll just look at this place for some inspiration. Maybe I'll move here. I was like thinking I actually mulled it, like moving to Kitchener and Waterloo or whatever. And I just walked up and down King Street, which is like the main corridor of the entire region. And I went into a cafe in Uptown Waterloo, which is actually their downtown weird name or whatever. And there was something called Toque Magazine, which is this giant magazine. And I asked the barista, how much is this? I was like thinking, oh, I'm willing to pay if it's like $30. No, he's like, it's free. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All this like giant photo book of all the sites and whatever of Waterloo region. These two co-creators of the magazine are doing their whole they're adventuring, they're like going through Waterloo region, Wellington County, which includes Guelph and Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like amazed by it. I was like, wow, they're taking pride into where they live and like showing the whole world, look, there's like 130 pages of all this stuff. And I thought about like where I live, and the deep irony was like going to Waterloo and Kitchener was like, oh, I came back with like some fresh ideas for what I wanted to do. So the next like 2 or 3 weeks later, I announced that I'm doing this kind of local focused blog called Laps Magazine. And Laps comes from London and Port Stanley, the railway that runs through both places.
Hmm. That's awesome. And it's really cool about Laps. What I find is it's so accessible what you talk about. Like, I bought a bike, and last year I tried to get into biking and
Right.
didn't get very far. It currently is just art on my wall because I haven't even taken it out this year.
It's a lovely piece of art.
Yeah. But the way that you're able to communicate, even the way that you share your travels online, you make it seem like anyone could just pick it up and just get going, right? It's so cool.
Pretty much, that's what I try to do. I try to be accessible. It's not like I'm that kind of like spandex wearing cyclist or whatever
Yeah.
who's always like suiting up for Tour de France or whatever. It's like I want to make sure that like to normalize it so anyone can bike or anyone can like kind of join in on what I'm
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, when is the next one coming out?
The next one's going to be mid to late June,
Okay.
deep in the heart of strawberry season.
Nice. So you can just pick some on your travels. Um,
Pretty much. I'm gonna go to Heeman's and pick all the strawberries that I can and that can fit on the back of my bike.
hmm I wonder how has it been balancing creating this magazine that does come out four times a year, as well as, you know, working during a pandemic because you were technically a frontline worker, if I know correctly, because you work at Sidetrack.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. I work at the grocery store. I work as a barista in Sidetrack, and I work occasionally for this law firm that I had worked for in years past. And it's a bit of a tough challenge.
Mm.
Sometimes I think, man, am I gonna am I gonna meet this deadline or whatever, that kind of thing. But I eventually, like everything that I do, I eventually meet the deadline and get everything out to the people that I need to get to.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, so with the next one coming out in June, I know you have some really
Yes.
interesting plans. Oh, we see Best Barista in town.
I feel so honored. Thank you, Christina.
What are your plans? I know you have a really big feature coming up because of your plans for the summer. So you want to talk a bit about that?
Absolutely. So in July, I think it's going to be like late July, maybe early August. The greatest bike ride ever 3. It's going to surpass the first two. It's like a backgrounder on that. The first greatest bike ride ever was actually in last year's edition of Laps Magazine, and back in June. It's on lapsmagazine.ca where I talk about it. I biked to Grand Bend and back, and it was like this
Grand Bend.
life changing adventure. And um, I never made it to the beach or the lake because they were all blocked off, but it was just, it basically spoke to me like, what could I do? Like, I'm the edge case for like this, like, what can I do with a city bike? And I just did this. And then
And
the
how long did
second
that
great
bike take, actually? How long did that trip take to Grand Bend?
11 hours in round trip.
Gee. And did you do it in one go or?
Oh, I basically did it in one go. Like it took 3 hours for me to get to Exeter. So like it was 1:30. I was trudging up Highway 84 when I turned left off of Richmond, and I made it to Zurich by like 3 p.m. Grand Bend by 4:30, left Grand Bend at 5, got to Park Hill at 7, and got back to London at 9 p.m.
That's amazing. I can't even fathom.
I know it's one of those like I just did it. I don't know how I did it, but I'm alive still. The second greatest bike ride ever was basically I went to it was my vacation. It was back in July. I went to Port Dover and back, and that was just staring at Lake Erie for my second day was amazing to me, and I relive it. But I already went there. I already visited there. I want to visit new places. So in July, I'm going to Manitoulin Island
Yeah.
in northern Ontario.
And that by car is like 6 hours, isn't it? Like it's, or seven?
Some it's if by taking the ferry, it's like a 3 hour drive plus 1 hour across the Georgian Bay and then
Okay.
right into northern Ontario. But I'm dividing up the way to Manitoulin in like 3 days, so that alone's gonna be a challenge, I think. And but I'm always up to it.
So what's the approach that you're taking to document that trip for your magazine? Are you leaning more journal style, images?
It's going to be image heavy. Like I had anticipated um, always having to take pictures for this. Like I decided I'd buy an actual digital camera to give my phone a break.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And journaling last year when I went to Dover, like I released that in September of last year, and which was like 2 months later, and I was like just writing it from memory.
Mm. So you
And
wanted
I was like,
uh, oh, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
no worries. I was basically focusing on the vacation or whatever, and I was like, I can write about it later. I can remember all this stuff.
Yeah. But this time you're doing
But yeah,
play by play kind of approach.
pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And so, okay, so my final question. Do you have any advice to anyone who's thinking of marrying their two passions, whether it be with writing or with photography? Anything you wish someone would have told you when you started on this project?
Um, Basically, you have some kind of untapped, not market, but like there's going to be an audience who's willing to listen. There's like 7.5 billion, I guess, people out there, and at least one of them's going to be like this diehard stan or whatever who's gonna like read it and write it and buy it, that kind of thing.
Amazing. So, for can you let people know where to find Lapse Magazine and where to follow you?
Absolutely. The Instagram handle is at Lapse Magazine, LAPSMAGAZINE. Got to make sure, and then and lapsemagazine.ca is the blog where various back issues are, as well as my any other blog entries I choose to put in there. And my Etsy shop is etsy.ca slash etsy.com/ca/shop/lapse magazine. I'm gonna put it in all the link tree in that Instagram handle. So
And we'll
after
put
this, so yeah.
our caption as well after this. So you're good.
Beautiful.
And oh, go ahead.
And my Patreon's in the link in my bio. So subscribe and you can get all the written content throughout the year. And
For sure. I strongly encourage anyone, whether you have an FC account or not, go on, buy the latest issue because it is just a barrel of laughs and it's like taking a little peek into Cedric's head, which seems like the most fun place to be. So
I'm glad someone said that. I was like, when I was writing this, I was wondering like, who's going to read this? What are they going to think about it? So I'm glad someone got something out of it.
yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, if you want to follow Cedric, it's at Cedric_Richards, right?
That's right.
And then Laughs Magazine will put it in the comments. But thank you for joining and thank you for being our final interview for this series.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you very much. Thank you for reaching out. I love this. I was like excited for this for a whole month. So
Amazing. Well, have a great night and we'll talk soon.
you too. Thank you.